Hello, how are you? I'm not okay. I'm doing this because it's necessary. I have a platform and I am going to say George Floyd's name. And I'm going to keep saying George Floyd's name until there is justice. We have gotten to a point now where a lynching of a man in broad daylight on national TV is something that happened with no remorse. They delayed the arrest of the cops involved. And I can guarantee you it was because they were waiting for that piece of whitewash lie that is the coroner's report. When I saw that report, the only thing I could think was that that's another bucket of gasoline onto this issue. 3 grown cops holding this man down. One of them holding him down by pressing on his neck until he could not breathe and staying there and not letting the EMTs even check for a pulse until he decided he was going to get up. The man begged for his life. George Floyd died on the street, middle of the morning, for something that didn't actually happen. We have some leaders currently calling for peaceful demonstrations. It's not enough. There is no clear response to what is happening. George Floyd died for nothing else than being a citizen with dark skin. That's it. It's gone on too long. This has got to stop. Remember all of what is being said about the case. The coroner's report that is an obvious cover-up. The fact that they tried to wait to place charges on these cops, while the 3 were on his body, which is in the films. The 4th one stood there looking confused and basically displaying depraved indifference at the minimum, if not aiding and abetting by keeping the observers away. He kept them away because their concern and their attempt to interfere and possibly save George Floyd's life was not going to be allowed to happen. The leaders let it happen. The other cops let it happen. The coroner is trying to excuse it. And those of us who know perfectly well that there really is a white privilege. Let it happen. White privilege doesn't mean that your life is not going to be difficult. It doesn't. It does mean that you are not going to have extra hurdles because of the color of your skin. If you have a platform, you have a voice. If you have a voice, you need to call this out. The protests are being broken up by cops with pepper spray and pepper bullets. Even when the protest is peaceful, they are moving to disperse the people with whatever it takes, whatever they have to hand. They don't care if it was peaceful. This is not freedom. This is not protect and serve. This was outright murder on national television. George Floyd died in the street in broad daylight on national TV. A public lynching. And people are responding. And I don't blame them. We have gone beyond what can be tolerated, what can be dealt with blinders. And if the only way the communities can make sure that we take the blinders off is to be as disruptive as these protests have been, then good on them. Because if that's the only thing that works to get through the white barricade, let them do it. I saw in one of the videos last night that at one of the protests, there was this little old woman on her walker. She wasn't trying to cross in front of the protest. She wasn't trying to yell stupidity at the protests. She was headed for the front line that was blocking the cops that were trying to disperse the crowds. You go, Granny. Go get them. And that's exactly what we should all be doing. Making the voices heard. George Floyd's voice did him no good. No matter how much he told them he couldn't breathe, no matter how much he called for mercy. They killed him. Straight up killed him. It was murder. It was not his underlying health conditions. No, George Floyd wasn't the first. There are so many in that lineup for being murdered, killed, just because they were living while black. But I can hope there won't be any more names on these lists. I can hope. And I will keep calling it out until we have it. No more.